How to prep your photography business for proposal season. So, booking season and engagement season is right around the corner. Is your business ready for it? Do you have a solid workflow set up? Do you have everything on the back end ready to go? And do you have your strategy all analyzed and prepped? In this video, I'm going to go over some strategies that you should be doing to prep your business for engagement season. Hello, my name is Rachel Traxler. I'm a wedding photographer and photography business coach helping you grow your business. Let's just dive in right away for things you should be doing to prep your business for proposal season. Number one is I want you to analyze the year that you just had. Look back at what lead generation strategies worked best for you, where you were putting most of your marketing money into, where you saw your biggest ROI, what types of clients you liked working with the best, what clients you maybe didn't like working with, what worked really well for you. Did you book too much or did you book too little? I want you to just look back at the year that you just had and analyze it to make sure that you aren't making the same mistakes moving forward. If you ended up booking more weddings than you wanted to, but maybe next year you want to book less, what does that look like? How can you map that out to make sure that that can happen for you, but you can still reach your income goals? So making sure you're just analyzing and evaluating the year that you just had so that you can have even a better year moving forward. And number two is lead generation strategies. I want you to take a look at what lead generation strategies worked really well for you this year and which ones didn't work well for you. And if they didn't work well, is it worth just ditching them and getting rid of them? Or is it worth building up and trying to really improve on them? And then I want you to take a look at the lead generation strategies that you did have and see where you can put more marketing efforts into, or maybe get some more help around, or even spend more marketing money into, and figuring out what's going to be the biggest ROI for you. And I think it's also important to know that it's okay that like things change, because the same marketing strategies and lead generation strategies that I was doing in 2015 aren't really working now anymore. So it's okay to have to reevaluate and kind of move along with the times and just figure out which one works really best for you. I always like to say it's really nice to have at least like two or three different kinds of lead generators. One that requires a little bit more of your everyday energy and attention, and that one, at least one that is running on the back end that does not require your everyday attention and like energy every single day, so that you know that you can be funneling in inquiries and leads on autopilot without even having to show up, and you don't have to stress or worry about taking time off because you know that those leads are going to come in. So I would say for the year ahead, prepping yourself for engagement season, proposal season coming up, look at the lead generation strategies that worked really well for you this year and really lean into them and dive into them as we are approaching engagement season, and see where you can leverage those and see which ones you can stop putting energy into and just get rid of altogether. And then the third way to prep your business for engagement and proposal season is to refresh. Give your portfolio refresh your website, your social media content, your marketing material. Everything just needs a little refresh, not a complete rebrand. Don't mistake me from a complete rebrand to just a brand refresh. And just coming off of busy season too, you have so much portfolio to show for it and showcase and add an update to all of your marketing material, like your guides, your pricing guides, your templates, your social media graphics, anything like that. You want to make sure you're updating that. Also updating your portfolio on your website to make sure it's matching what you would like to be booking and attracting for the year ahead, especially moving into proposal season, the types of people that will be reaching out to you this holiday season or in booking season, engagement season. You want to make sure is attracting the types of clients you want to be working with a year later. So you have to be really intentional and think about what you want to be working with later and not just necessarily now. And along with updating your portfolio in terms of like your photos on your website, that along with that goes with updating your copy and your messaging and making sure that that's also updated too. I think it's a really good idea for at least once a year to sit and look at your website and see when you can make these updates. And I know a lot of people do it during off season, which is great, and it's a perfect time to do that. But I also think doing it right before booking an engagement season happens, that way you can kind of get that leg up and have that nice refresh before people start booking you. And then tip number 4 to help prepare you for engagement season is just to be prepared for the inquiries, making sure that you have all of your workflows and email templates and systems set up and all of your funnels are running really solid. That way you don't have to worry so much on the back end of things when you do get the inquiries, that you are prepared for them, you are ready for them, you know how you're going to respond, you know when and what you're going to respond, and you know the exact experience that they're going to get because you have built that up on the back end. So you need to actually just be prepared for the inquiries on the back end. And I love to use HoneyBook to just plug in all of my email workflow templates. So that way I know that if I'm going to book a client, they are going to go through my funnel exactly how I want to. They're going to start with my onboarding phase, and then I'm going to lead them into my nurturing phase, and then I'm going to lead them to my delivery phase, and then it's going to go to my offboarding phase. So I know that no matter what happens, I have my HoneyBook workflow set up seamlessly so that I can know that I can funnel them in and give them a really good experience. And a lot of that, just like being prepared for the inquiries too, goes along with making sure your HoneyBook calendar update is updated. That way, when people go to schedule a call with you, your calendar is updated and everything's good to go. I would test and make sure that your contact form is working, and that to make sure that you're getting those inquiries in and they're not going to spam, or your contact form is broken and there's broken links anywhere. Again, go through your website. This kind of goes back with the website update too. Go through and make sure there's not any broken links, and just go through and make sure everything's running really seamlessly. So in order to prep your business for engagement busy season, you need to make sure you're prepared for the inquiries. And then the next tip to help you prep is to evaluate your pricing. Now is a really good time to just take a step back and look at, are you comfortable with where your pricing is right now? Because I think a lot of people think they need to raise their prices come January 1st and start the new year, that they need to raise their prices. And I actually think that if you're not actually running your cost of doing business and knowing your numbers and like listening to that supply and demand and really paying attention to all of that and only raising your prices once a year, you're probably doing it wrong. And I hate to say that because there's no right or wrong way when it comes to pricing and everyone's so different. But I also think that you should be listening to like the demand you have and increasing your prices as you go and as your experience builds up. But I also don't think you need to do one huge big price increase and announce it in January. I actually think that you should evaluate that and do this before booking an engagement season. That way, for the weddings that you are booking for this proposal season and that you're going to be photographing the next year ahead, you know that you locked them in and booked them at a price that you feel really comfortable with, and they're kind of your next year's prices. But you also don't need to do like this big price increase too. If you only feel comfortable raising your prices by $100, $200, $300, something like that, that's totally fine too. But I think now is a really good time to reevaluate the pricing that you have based on the goals that you have set for yourself for the next year ahead. So is your revenue goal, I always like to say to kind of work backwards. So if your revenue goal is 30,000 or 60,000, 90,000 or 150,000, like whatever your revenue goal is, I want you to work backwards. So take that number goal that you have, and then take all the expenses that you have from each package that you offer, each wedding collection package you offer. Then once you take away all of your expenses, you're going to take that number and allocate it into the funds that you need to be putting it towards. So what you're setting aside for taxes, what you're putting in your business savings, what you're putting in your business checking, what you're actually paying yourself and putting in your personal checking. That way you can actually see what you're taking home from each wedding. And then you're going to take that number and divide it by your revenue goal. And that's how many weddings that you should be taking on, or should be like reaching and striving for to book. And if you do that calculation, you're like, well, I can't book 50 weddings to be able to reach that goal. That's going to give you a lot more confidence in your pricing because you're actually seeing what you're actually taking home. But then it's going to make you push you to be creative. And how can I offer maybe some upsells or some add-ons to my current clients to increase the amount and like the revenue I'm getting from each client? Or even how many sessions do I now need to book, or how many mini session days should I be doing to be able to reach my financial goal? And that's why it's so important to know your numbers, and really there's so much power in knowing your numbers. Not only that, but it also gives you so much more confidence of what you're charging, because you know you need to be charging this much because you're only taking home this much, and you need to reach your goals based off of all of your expenses too. So I think now is a really, really good time to analyze your pricing and where you want to be in the year ahead, not where you're at right now. And then the last thing you need to do to prep your business for engagement season is to analyze what you want the following year to look like. So maybe you ended up photographing 30 weddings and you realized it was just too much for you, and maybe you want to photograph 15 or 10, and you want less weddings but you want to charge more premium pricing and book more premium clients. Now you know what you need to do on the back end, that you need to elevate your client experience, that you need to like work on everything and building the foundations on the back end. You need to lean into more marketing strategies. Maybe you need some more help and maybe you need some more guidance in your business, whatever that looks like, to help you get to charging more premium pricing. And I actually do have a free masterclass on this, on how to stop attracting price shoppers and start attracting a flood of hot inquiries into your inbox of people who are willing to pay premium prices. It's a really good masterclass, so make sure you watch that. I'll put it in the links in the description below. But you really want to make sure that you're analyzing what you want your year to look like, whether you want more weddings, whether you want less, whether how much work you want to take on, what prices you want to charge. Do you want to book holidays or do you not want to book holidays? You need to set those expectations and those boundaries for yourself now, because if you don't do that going into booking season, you might get carried away and get too excited and ahead of yourself and book holidays when you said that you didn't want to book holidays. So making sure that you stick to your boundaries and you know those and you set those ahead of time before proposal season starts to happen, so you don't get caught up in it and too excited about it. So those are my tips on how to help you prep your business for engagement season. And I actually just released a brand new course. It's called Inquiry to Income, and it's all about how to convert price shoppers into booked premium clients, and basically that whole workflow on how to take an inquiry, first how to even get the inquiry, and then take the inquiry and lead them into a booked client. And so that course I will also link in the description below. It's a really good one. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. I will be here weekly with photography education tips. Thank you guys so much for watching. Keep shining, and we'll see you next time.